Hello, my name is Joey Wernet, and today I will be presenting my Task 1.7 presentation skills for the UX Fundamental course. In this presentation, I will be going over the app syntax that I have created. Before diving into creating my own app, I wanted to take a look at the competition for other apps that will be completing similar tasks that I am looking to do as well, which is create new lessons, create a new way to learn a language or any type of new content that you're looking at. So I looked at the flashcards app, the flashcards plus app, which is not an updated version, and the vocabulary builder. Now I found out that each of these apps had strengths and weaknesses, which I took into account moving forward in creating my app syntax. So let's take a look at our target audience, or our user persona, which is Larry. Larry is an art professor who recently moved to Denver, Colorado. He is married. He is 32 years old, which you can all see here. But what he needs is a way to share his content through lessons to his students. And he also would like this for his own when learning new content for himself. As you can see here, describing what I was just speaking about, trying to solve the problem of creating an app that will allow users to learn and share new content, whether that be simply vocabulary or beyond that, such as briefs of different topics. In this case, Larry needs the app that will allow for a quick share for his students. He does have abnormal hours due to being a professor, so sometimes he teaches early in the morning, sometimes he will teach late at night. He needs something that he can pick up and put down and share with his students at any time during the day. So let's take out the early wireframing that I did for the app. Now, before going into any type of sketches, I did an app walkthrough that would allow someone to, as you can see, the primary task, add a new lesson once opening the app, and then also share the lesson, which are the two main things that Larry would need in this scenario. Here are some of my early sketches, and also voting for which style of app or which elements that would look best while creating the design of this app. After going through these early Crazy 8 sketches, these are my early prototypes. So as you can see from the previous screen, the one with 2 dots is currently the number 1 on both of my user flows. And this is the early stages of how someone would use the app. So after I created the early prototype of the app, I placed it into an online simulator and tested a few friends. I made sure that all of these 3 friends were in the target audience of what this app was geared towards. So let's check out what was tested. So I wanted them to test the basic functionality of the application, such as creating a new lesson, and also the more complicated, such as sharing the lesson, which is one of the primary focuses here. Now, obviously, with a brand new application, it's not going to flush out perfectly the first time, so a few issues were identified during this process. A few of those issues would be users getting caught in loops. They thought that they were in the same place over and over again, so obviously something to need to be changed there. And a lot of it was going back and forth between different actions on the app, and they were unsure where to go for certain things, to do certain things, such as share a lesson, begin a new lesson, creating new cards, etc. So what can I do to fix these issues? I believe that adding a notification, a success piece saying, hey, you have created this, and keeping it on the screen once they've created a new lesson, or anywhere between creating a new lesson and sharing the new lesson. Now, the other big factor I wanted to place in here was creating an onboarding experience to show the user how to do these tasks. So once these have been identified, here's the updated prototype. As you can see, everything is cleaned up. The buttons are consistent. The onboarding process is present, which allows the user to know where to go and how to use the app. Now, this app has not been created in a digital format, and it is usable through the online program that I used, but it is not something that is on the App Store or is available to download. So, continuing and moving forward, how can I improve this prototype? Because this is just a simple prototype. Continuing user testing is going to allow me to identify and pinpoint more crucial issues, because everybody is different, and going over 3 people will help, but having more user testing will identify more issues and flush out more problems. Such things as making the elements more distinguishable, keep a minimalist look, and continue to add more features within this minimalistic style. So I went through this entire process of prototyping, wireframing, user testing, user personas. I know I got that a little bit backwards, but there were a lot of things that were learned during this process. As you can tell in the beginning here, user testing is very, very, very important. As a designer, when you begin to put things together, you think that it's going to work for everybody. Once you get a few people who are unbiased towards your design, who have not seen it yet, you will find things that you wouldn't have found before. So continuing user experience or user testing is going to be very, very important. I also found that the more I placed my pen to paper without thought, the more great ideas I was able to come up with. Some of them were not so great, and some of them ended up being final decisions. So whether I was sketching for the early low fidelity wireframe, just putting the pen to paper without thinking about it gave me such a boost, rather than have the intimidating factor of this is exactly how this screen needs to look. Also, as I touched on before, as the designer, you need to keep in mind who you're designing for. If you put yourself in their shoes, you can keep the main points of the app in the forefront of your brain while you're doing these sketches, while you're creating the prototypes, etc. Comparing your app can be your friend and it can be your enemy, for sure. Comparing in general, right? So focusing on comparing to other apps, I believe, can help you if you keep an unbiased towards, let's say, the look of the app or different functionalities that you have in the app. Now, it can also improve your app by giving you new ideas and how you can tweak them and make your own to create an app that will suit your target audience the best. Now, there were issues that I ran into while going through this entire process. As I said before, the pen and the paper, it can be intimidating when you bring up your computer and you see the screen and all you want to do is design the perfect app right away. Unfortunately, that's not the case. You're not going to get you're not going to hit the nail on the head every time when you put the pen to paper. There's testing, prototypes, you have to scratch all of that and keep an organized fashion in order to go through the process of creating an app or user testing um, in the most efficient way. Sometimes it can be very difficult to flush a complete design that you've come up with once you've gotten feedback from users. Now, this is something that I ran into. As a designer, sometimes you think that your way is the right way, but when you find users that think differently than you find that you have to design for your users and not design for yourself. So allowing for that information or that input from your users that tested the app is a very crucial point in the entire process of creating the app, whether that be the early stages or the late stages. The last issue I ran into during this process was limited knowledge within Sketch or Adobe XD for prototypes. Not only prototypes, but also presenting and everything pretty much besides the things that you know very well, such as putting the pen to paper. So that would, I would say, be the last issue that I came into during this process. Thank you for watching this presentation. My name is Joey Wernet, and this is Task 1.7, Presentation Skills for the UX Fundamental course at Career Foundry. Thank you.